Why is meditation the key to your ascension on your spiritual awakening journey? In this video, I really wanted to talk about how to really use meditation to carry on with your ascension, why it's so critical to your progress and your spiritual journey, and really some best practices that will help you along the way. Now, it's important to understand that when you go through a spiritual awakening, there's a lot that bubbles up to the surface. Your inner world becomes so alive with new thoughts, emotions, and energies all bubbling up to the surface that you probably didn't even know that you could experience all at once. So in the midst of all this chaos, you really need something to help ground you, and meditation is that key. And sometimes for those who have never really meditated before, this can be quite a challenge and something that you don't really want to experience. But when you see all the chaos that you're going through, you need something to turn to. It's not about quieting the mind, but truly aligning with that divine presence that always has been within. Now, where are you meant to be focusing in meditation? Now, this is a really important one because a lot of people end up straining their eyes or creating headaches for themselves when they are trying to meditate. Now, if this is happening to you, you are definitely putting too much pressure on your eyes, and this is not needed. Meditation should feel very relaxing, very calming, and if it is not giving you that effect, you really want to retake a look at how you are sitting in meditation. Now, a lot of people recommend, possibly lying down if that's helpful to you, but truly having a posture of sitting with your legs crossed and keeping your spine straight along possibly a wall or on a chair is truly really helpful. You want to keep your back up straight when you are meditating. When you are lying down, it is not that you couldn't do this way, but it is very easy for you to fall asleep. And therefore, if you are noticing that's something that you keep falling into, you really should avoid that position and be seated in, a cross-legged position is probably the most recommended option for you. Now, as you do this, you really want to focus between the two eyes, just slightly above, focused in the middle of your forehead there. That is called the state of your higher consciousness. It is the seat of the soul, according to saints and mystics. Now, I want to mention that when I talk about a daily practice of meditation, I am talking about the time, the duration, and the space of meditation. It really helps you if you pick the same time to show up for meditation each day. That helps to really strengthen your daily practice. Now, the recommended time for meditation is between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. as saints and mystics really tell us that the veil between the two worlds, the physical and the spiritual realm, is really thin at that time. And also, it is very easy for us to focus before sunrise because a lot of the daily activity has not yet started. When we try to meditate during the day, there is so much happening. Our phone is going off, someone's, making noise in the house or wherever you meditate. It's possible that there might be a lot of interruptions. Nevertheless, a lot of us work sometimes overnight, and therefore this might not really help us, and we might not be able to meditate between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., and that's okay. But it does help to pick that same time every day to be able to show up in meditation because it does really help you to kind of create that structure for yourself and makes it a habitual practice. Now, if you are new to meditation, it might only be that you like to start off really small. It is hard initially to sit still, to really be able to focus and bring that awareness to your third eye and really stay there for a while. You may get agitated, irritated with the whole practice if you're really new to it. So the recommendation here is to start off small, possibly 10 to 15 minutes, and slowly build it up to possibly an hour or really even 2.5 hours, which is 1/10 of your day, which is really highly recommended by saints and mystics. Beyond that, you really also want to try and pick the same spot for your meditation on a daily basis. The reason for this is when we show up, to sit in the same spot daily, we end up creating almost an energetic charge in that place that we choose to be seated. And it is highly recommended by saints and mystics that we do not allow others to possibly be seated in that particular area. So, for example, you wouldn't want to do this on the sofa or maybe somewhere in your main living room where others might have access to where you meditate. Now, if you have a smaller house and really that's all that's available to you, absolutely, meditation anywhere is better than no meditation. So you really want to try and make the best use of what you've got. But if you are able to, pick a meditation spot that's really kind of off on its own, it's not really to be interrupted by other people, it really helps for you to show up in that same place, using that same place of peace and that electrical charge that you're really creating for yourself with your energy, as it helps you to really zone in to that energetic frequency when you really sit for meditation. So it is really helpful for you to use that space for yourself, especially when you're building that daily practice. Should you be leaving your place of meditation if you have any creative ideas during your meditation? Now, this is a question I really wanted to talk about because a lot of individuals use meditation to really spark up that creativity that they need to create their pieces of art, their pieces of music, and whatever it is that their creative expression really is. However, when we talk about meditation on your spiritual awakening journey, we are talking about you sitting and aligning with that divine presence within. And so what's important here to note is that when you are meditating, any thoughts, any ideas about the outside world need to be left alone. If you are hoping to make spiritual progress for the sake of, really aligning with that divine presence, then need to kind of leave aside those thoughts and really let them just pass through. At no point in time should you be interrupting your meditation to go get a pen to write down these ideas. If you find that this is, a really helpful time for you to get those sorts of ideas, then you really need to separate your meditation that you are, using to align with that divine presence from that which you use for your creative self. With that, I would like to say that when you align with divine presence, working towards that spiritual progress, ultimately you do get to a state where your creativity is at an all-time high, even when you are not meditating. So really, if you just focus on the goal for aligning with divine presence, then that is really going to help you. Just remember that meditation is not about escaping reality, but rather, aligning with that divine presence, the source from which everything truly flows. When you make meditation your daily practice of devotion, everything that you are seeking, such as peace, that, calming state, that alignment with the divine, that ultimately becomes not something which you seek, but it becomes your natural state. So we want to get to a place in meditation where everything, when we align with this divine presence, flows for us very naturally. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. God bless.